third question, you have recently referred to the non-competitive spirit of the Zen masters. Is competitiveness lacking in Zen? Hierarchy? There is no sense of hierarchy, because the idea of hierarchy is essentially connected with the concept of a supreme being apart from and above man. There is no competitive spirit. That means no master is thought to be greater and no master is thought to be lesser. Even the enlightened one is not thought to be higher than the unenlightened one. One is asleep, one is awake. That does not mean that the awake one is superior than the one who is asleep. They are different states, but there is no question of superiority or inferiority. In this sense, no competitive spirit exists in Zen. No master is trying to gather more people, more followers. On the contrary, there are cases on record. The master will see in the eyes of the disciple who has come to be with him, will shake his hand, will shake his hands, will say that it will be better if you go to the other monastery on the other hill. Although the teaching there is different and opposite from me, but that will be more suitable to you. And the real thing is what is more suitable to you. It is not a question that I should have more disciples and the others should have less. Once it happened, a disciple was thrown by the master because for many years he has been meditating and bringing answers and getting beaten, and he has become habituated and nothing was happening. One day as he was coming in, the master closed the door. The disciple said, I have not said anything at all. The master said, you should not come here at all. Go anywhere. Naturally, the disciple thought the best place will be the master who is opposite, teaches different things. He went to the master. The master looked into his eyes and said, it is better you go back to your old master. He has great mercy on you. 18 years he has wasted on you. I don't have that much compassion. You just go back. If he closes the door, that does not mean that he is not answering you. That is his answer. Sit down on the door. Don't open your eyes and don't move from the door. Just go back. And the disciple went back, sat on the master's door, closed his eyes. The whole night went. Early in the morning, the master opened the door. And the disciple was sitting there so beautifully, so peacefully, that the master has brought few flowers for Buddha's statue. He showered those flowers on the disciple's head. The disciple opened his eye. He said, "What are you doing? These flowers you bring for Buddha." The master said that Buddha can manage without flowers today. A living Buddha I have found just sitting in my door. Come in. Where you have been this long? I said, where? I have been here 18 years. Have you forgotten? Just last day you have thrown me away. He said, I had to. Because I knew immediately you will go to the opposite monastery. And I knew the opposite master, that he will not accept you. You are such a dodo that only I accept dodos and make them Buddhas. So there was no fear. Wherever you will go, they will send you back. There is no competitiveness, there is no condemnation. Disciples moved from one teacher to another teacher with their permission. And there is no hierarchy. Gautam Buddha is not higher than Mahakashyapa. Neither Mahakashyapa is higher than Bodhidharma. The very word hierarchy comes from the idea of inferior and the superior. The world, according to the Buddhas, is divided into two kinds of Buddhas. Few are sleeping, few are awake. Nothing much of a difference. One who is asleep today may wake up tomorrow. And one never knows. One who is awake today may fall asleep tomorrow. In this miraculous existence, everything is possible. It will be difficult for your reason to accept that a Buddha can become again unenlightened. But I know many Buddhas who are sitting here unenlightened. And many times they come to the very verge of becoming enlightened and immediately turn away. Being afraid that who knows, if you go one step more, you may never return back. And your girlfriend is waiting outside. Sarjano has gone somewhere few days. I asked Neelam, I don't see Sarjano. She informed me that she asked Sarjano, and Sarjano said that if I'm not missing him, why he is missing me? Sarjano, you may not miss me. I miss you. I'm my kind of a Buddha. I miss people. And even people like Sarjano. Everybody was happy when he was gone. The sutra. Beloved Osho, Tanka asked Choro, what is the self before the empty eon? Eon means before the beginning of existence. The questioner is asking Tanka, before the existence began, there was eon. That is only a word. Age, it means simply age. Better translated, it will be said time. Pure time existed. Tanka asked Choro, what is the self before the empty eon? Before that empty timelessness, what is the self? Where you have been? You must have been somewhere. A relevant question. Existence may not have been here. You may not have been in a body, but somewhere, hiding in some corner, you must have been somewhere. As Choro was about to answer, Tanka said, you are still noisy, go away for now. Tanka was the master who has asked the disciple Choro, what is the self before the empty eon? Before everything begins, what is the self? And as Choro was about to answer, because this is not a question that can be answered. To answer is to answer wrongly. There is no right answer to it. Perhaps some right action. If Choro was a man of understanding, he may have slapped the master, and the master would have been happy. But it is not a question to be answered intellectually, verbally. As Choro was about to answer, Tanka said, "You are still noisy. Go away for now. When you are silent and there are no words in you, come back." Only a man who has no words knows that the self can exist without boundaries. It is an experience. There is no way of proving it by argumentation. You can go into yourself and be utterly silent, no boundaries, no words, a pure isness. Still you know you are. Without knowing, without verbalizing, you experience you are. This amness was there before the beginning, if there was any beginning. It is now and it will remain forever. Even if there is an end, this amness is not going to end. And this amness has nothing to do with you. This amness is not your possession. Hence, it is not self. Buddha is very accurate in his explanations. Perhaps no man has ever been so accurate. He describes it as no self, not as self. Because to call it self will give it a line, a boundary, a territory. To destroy the territory, Buddha calls it no self. This was one of the reasons of his being misunderstood by centuries. Because who wants to attain to no self? Who wants to become nothing? And that's exactly you become when you reach at the very center of your being, nothing, no self. But that no selfness is immortal. That no selfness is pure joy, uncaused bliss. One day, as Choro was climbing Bal Peak, his mind opened up into enlightenment. He took a shortcut down and went back to stand by Tanka, who slapped him and said, "I knew it exists." Choro bowed joyfully. He didn't say anything. On this second occasion, Choro suddenly felt a silence as he was coming up the mountain. And it happens more easily in the world of Zen because everybody is looking for silence. As he was climbing up, suddenly a moment of silence, and he found why the master has rejected him. He took a shortcut to reach the master. Tanka looked at him, slapped him, and said, I knew you will know it exists. It is not the self, it is not the no self, it is simply isness. And you will find it one day. I knew it. And I am happy that you have found it. And Chora has not said a single word, but he showed his understanding. Chora bowed joyfully. Now, in any situation, anywhere, this type of incident is impossible. The master slaps the disciple and he has not said anything right or wrong. But the master does not depend on your words. He depends on your grace, on your eyes, on your face, on your very vibe. The master saw that Choro is walking in a different way, with a different vibe. Only a Buddha can walk. He did not miss the point. He immediately slapped him. This slapping was just to check whether he is right or wrong. If Choro had asked, why are you slapping me? Tanka would have been wrong. But rather than asking anything, Choro bowed joyfully. Not only Tanka has understood the vibe, Choro has also understood that slapping is not out of anger, it is out of joy. The next day, Tanka went into the hall and said, the sun illumines the green of the solitary peak, the moon shines in the cold of the valley stream. Don't put the wondrous secret of the ancestral teachers in your little heart. Then he got up off the seat. Choro came directly forward and said, your address today can't fool me anymore. Tanka said, try to recite my address. Choro remained silent. Tanka said, I thought you had a glimpse. Choro then left. What has transpired? The next day, Tanka spoke before the assembly and said, the sun illumines the green of the solitary peak. The moon shines in the cold of the valley stream. Don't put the wondrous secret of the ancestral teachers in your heart. Then he got up off the seat. What he had meant was, whenever you have found the truth, spread it. Don't keep it in your heart. If you keep it, it will die. Spread it wide. Sow in as many fields as possible. The more you spread it, the more it grows, the more you have it. Choro has become a little proud of yesterday's experience, that the master has slapped him with joyfully. Choro came directly forward and said, "Your address today can't fool me anymore." He thought that he has gone beyond the understanding that is contained in the sermon of the Master. Tanka said, "Try to recite my address. If you cannot be befooled by it, please try to recite it. Let me see whether you have even heard it or not." Choro remained silent. Tanka said, "I thought you had a glimpse." Those slappings were of joy. This statement that "I thought you had a glimpse" is of sadness. The Master is saying that in the first place, this is imprudent. Coming before the assembly and making the statement. Secondly, when asked to recite, if you cannot recite it, you can at least ask for forgiveness. But you remain silent like a dead lamppost. Tanka said, "I was wrong. I thought you had a glimpse. Yesterday you had a different vibe. Today that vibe has changed. This makes me aware of you, that whenever any recognition from the Master is given to you, don't make it part of your ego. Otherwise, rather than helping, it has become a hindrance. The Master's look into your eyes, or his hand pointing you, is a recognition. In his love, there is a recognition. Every moment, he is recognizing you with great reverence as possible potential Buddhas, but don't become proud of it. Otherwise, that proudness will delay your enlightenment.